You've been hunting for a welding tool that actually lets you get the job done without turning every pipe fitter's day into a guessing game. You want something that won't quit halfway through a trench, that won't force you to keep buying replacement parts, and that feels solid enough to survive a busy work site. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. In the next few minutes, I'm going to walk through why the ROTHENBERGER ROWELD ROFUSE SANI 160 might be the answer, and where it could leave you wishing you'd spent a little more time looking. First off, the hesitation most people feel isn't about specs on a sheet, it's about the real cost of a botched joint. An electrofusion mistake can mean a leaky drain, a flooded garden, or a costly callback that drags you back onto the job site. When you're comparing a handful of machines, the risk is not just buying a tool that looks good on paper, but one that actually lines up the heat, timing, and pressure for the specific pipe sizes you'll be handling. The market is full of universal welders that promise to cover everything, but in practice they often need extra adapters or manual tweaks that defeat the purpose of a set-and-forget approach. Electrofusion welding machines sit at the intersection of plumbing and electronics. Instead of using a torch or mechanical coupler, they melt a thin plastic ring around the pipe joint with precisely controlled electricity. The result is a permanent, leak-free seal provided the machine can keep the temperature steady and match the correct parameters for the pipe material. That's why the microprocessor control and automatic temperature compensation in the ROTHENBERGER model matter. They take the guesswork out of the equation and help you hit the exact melting point every time, even when the ambient temperature swings from a chilly morning to a hot afternoon. If you're a professional plumber, irrigation installer, or a serious DIY homeowner who regularly works with drainage or water supply piping, this is the kind of tool that can shave hours off your schedule. The large working range means you can tackle joints from the smallest residential pipe up to the bigger 16mm drainage fittings without swapping machines. The IP54 rating also gives you peace of mind when you're knee-deep in a trench or splashing water. Dust and moisture won't short out the electronics, and the housing can survive a few knocks without cracking. On the flip side, if you only need to make the occasional garden hose repair or you're fixing a single PVC elbow in a bathroom, the investment may not pay off. The machine runs on 230V, so you'll need a proper outlet or a generator, which adds another piece of equipment to carry around. For those who are just starting out with electrofusion, there's a short learning curve. The device expects you to understand the correct preparation of the pipe surface and the placement of the coupling. While the automatic sealing parameter recognition does a lot of the heavy lifting, you still have to follow the prep steps meticulously, or the weld will fail despite the machine's intelligence. One of the strengths that shows up in real-world use is the universal welder capability. I've spoken with a few contractors who run a mixed fleet of HDP and PP pipes. They love that they don't need a separate unit for each material, just select the appropriate preset on the screen, and the microprocessor adjusts the heating curve accordingly. That saves them the hassle of swapping out heating elements or recalibrating manually, which is especially handy on tight job sites where every minute counts. The housing, while shockproof, is also a bit bulkier than some of the handheld models you see on the market. It's built to survive the rigors of a construction site, but that means you'll need a sturdy bag or a dedicated spot in your tool chest. The weight can be a downside if you're the sole worker hauling equipment up a ladder or into a confined crawl space. Also, because the device is designed for a broad range of pipe diameters, the power draw is on the higher side. You'll notice the circuit breaker tripping if you try to run it off an undersized extension cord. Planning your power source ahead of time is a small but essential step that some first-time buyers overlook. Let me give you a concrete scenario. Imagine you're a municipal plumber tasked with repairing a broken storm drain line in a residential neighborhood. The pipe sections are 12mm HDP, and the trench is narrow, with water constantly pooling at the bottom. You set up the ROTHENBERGER machine, plug it into a portable generator, and let the microprocessor do its thing. The automatic temperature compensation adjusts for the cool morning air, while the IP54 housing keeps the unit dry despite the splashing water. Within a couple of minutes, you have a clean, sealed joint, and you can move on to the next segment without recalibrating or swapping tools. The whole process feels seamless, and the crew avoids the typical delays that come from manual heating methods. Now picture a commercial landscape contractor installing a new irrigation network across a large,